students are struggling with mental health challenges.
People allegedly shot the principal.
A diploma or degree is no guarantee of a job these days.
17-year-old committed suicide.
The high school learners drank poison. Teen suicide is becoming more common every year.
Hunting pupil has died after being stabbed at school.
Recorded the highest unemployment rates.
Youth unemployment once again.
Youth unemployment today is the last
What you're doing. We are going to prove to you that you don't have to fall into those statistics. You don't have to be just one more. You can rise above and define your own future. What you thinking? Hey, you have exactly what it takes for you to excel. So what you doing on June 17? Want to set your life on a whole new level? And join us at 24456 Imnik Drive, Zone 6, Deep Kloof in Soweto, with simultaneous events at every provincial YPG branch across Mzansi. WATCHA. Entry is absolutely rent-free. Mahala.
It's you giving that opportunity to yourself, or open-minded. Be open-minded, because that's how we learn. And then, because sometimes you find people are in certain careers, but they don't really enjoy what they're doing.
You don't have to give up. That there's always hope. There's always something that you can look forward to if you really set your mind to it.
We are women. It means that we are brave, strong, capable, unique. We are woman to woman.
Good afternoon, South Africa. You were right. It is really a takeover. We didn't even bother to bring our little sign of woman to woman. We are here as guests again because, of course, we have part 2 of WATCHA. Good afternoon to you, Toko.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Sam.
Are you excited for the event?
Oh, very much excited. I can't wait, actually. Yeah.
We need to wait just, 2 days.
In this case, we are allowed to be impatient.
We are, and anxious, because we know it will be such a great event. And as they said last week in the community session of our show, we are judging here with the YPG. They say they were doing that with us, but as a matter of fact, we made available this space for them. So this is why we welcome Tali and PJ. Good afternoon to you.
Afternoon, Miss Marcia, Miss T, and to the Juge fam who is watching us once again. Here we are.
Good afternoon, everyone. Woman to woman family. It's always a pleasure.
You're really excited about part 2 of WATCHA, because it doesn't seem to be, isn't it?
We are very excited, but it is 2 days to go, Miss Marcia, so
Yeah.
the nerves as well are on
it's
an
nerve-wracking.
all-time high. We know that the team is going to hold it down. We know that our Juge fam is never going to disappoint, but also the nerves as well. There's always those few hours before.
But the woman to me is helping us to
Cool it
just
down.
relax a bit.
You guys
forget about
took
the
over.
preparation.
We are here just to show our support, isn't that so?
just
Yes, we
supporting
took
system.
over, but then, there's that moment of like, exactly.
But I am sure, I'm confident it will be the greatest. We had that amazing event in February,
Yes.
but this one, we will go to another level, to take off.
Yes, Miss Marcia, we try to always live by what we share, that every time we want to do it better and better and better. And with the amazing team we have, the coordinators, the mentors of the YPG members who form part of this amazing fam, and the support of the Woman to Woman fam and all the other groups which assist us in this work, we know that we can always set the bar higher. We're never satisfied. We look at the end of every event, we always look and we're like, it's over. But then we look forward and like, on to the next one. The next day we already start telling the team, this was what we did wrong, this is what we could have done better, and we want to do better in the next one. Always.
And we are all growing together.
Yes.
So how is the build-up for the event? 2 days to go.
Okay, by now, stage is ready, sound is ready, screen is ready.
Rehearsals are happening all the time throughout the country because we'll have a lot of performances. I'm sure as well the The performances, they all registered already, as we are going to see shortly, all over the country. We can't wait for it. As Ms. Toko said, it's the time that we can be impatient.
Yes, the excitement grows, but the nerves as well grows. And the anxiety a little bit is just a little bit.
So let us make them to be part of this moment here of excitement, mixed feelings, excitement, anxiety, counting down for 2 days, being a bit impatient.
Yes, we do have a couple of, as we promised last week, that we are going to be sharing just a little taste. Last week we showed a little bit, but today we're going to show a little bit more of what's to come. The build-up, we have a couple of expectations from our fam throughout South Africa, what they are expecting, what they want to see, what they're expecting. Some of them have even shared a little bit of what they experienced in our past events and what they're expecting from this one. So I'd like our Juge fam to check it out.
Yes.
Hey Joe! Hey Joe! Come on! Yes! Yes! Hey Joe! Yes!
Hi guys, my name is Lebo from Durban. We are invited here at DUT for the Student Wellness event. We are going to invite students for the June 17 event.
Check this out.
Like you would be showing in J17. I can say in J17. I'm gonna rap in the J17.
So what are your expectations? Well, I'm expecting fun galore. We are secondary school for the very first time.
What's good, YPG? Today we are at Ikambaletu High School. We've got the Zeus and we are ready for the June 17 event.
What do we say, guys?
Toko, what is your expectation?
My expectations, I can't even mention them, but I know that I will be excited when I go there. I will see a lot of talents because people are going to be performing. So we are going to see a lot of talents and many people from other places. For example, we'll have people like schools will come to visit us, and for them that is going to be wow, because some of them, they've never seen this, because every time they think of the church. Church is boring, but they don't know that our YPG fam is fun. They're really fun. Yeah.
My expectation is that you, who's there, and maybe you're thinking, should I go? I've been invited, my school's going. I really expect that you come, because that will be a turnaround in your life. That's my expectation, to have a lot of new youngsters who will seize the moment to find their rare talents, their purpose, and make a difference from that moment on. So my expectation is resumed in one word: you. Good afternoon to you, Uncle Vinny, and good afternoon, Lebohan. Welcome to Woman Takeover YPG, as our audience can see.
Very good afternoon, Donna Marcia and the fam. You know, it's very nice to be in this environment, and you know, the heart starts beating when you get closer and closer and closer to the day, but I know that the event is going to be something
Your
amazing.
Expectation.
Oh, Donna Marcia, I am excited because there are a group of people who we are bringing in. If I spoil it now, it won't be a surprise, but I'm keen to see them on that stage.
But you have to give us a bit of spoil.
Just a hint.
So we have a certain group from Soweto. I don't want to put it out there yet, but their voices.
Wow. So it has to do with voices.
One is voices. One is an instrument, something a bit different to what we've seen. And the other one, I'll leave it as a surprise for everyone.
Accepted.
Oof, can't wait.
Lebohan, our show is What's Your Art? So tell us a little bit about your story.
About my story. Good afternoon, Miss Marcia. Good afternoon. So my story. So first of all, I'm also excited. Yeah, because many young people, they actually don't know the talent that they have until they showcase their talent, or they get someone else showcase their talent. That's when they discover that they've got a talent. So same with me. Growing up, I was very, I'll just talk about my experience. For example, I studied engineering. And I had this mindset when I was growing up that I would actually be in the field of engineering, working with engineering. But as time went on, growing up, I eventually discovered that I am more good in IT space, which is the environment that I found myself now. Because many young people, they have this mindset or being told that you have to grow up and be this type of a person, and they go with that mindset. But as we grow, we eventually have to have an open mindset to be able to see other opportunities, don't have a fixated mind.
Yeah.
When you wanted to pursue this thing of engineering and then the love for IT came, I'm sure there was a struggle, because probably you're looking at one thing and you're like, this is for me, but something else is calling you at the same time. And this is something young people go with. There's this clash of, you know, what to pursue in life. And that's where the struggle comes in with the art. Which art do I pick? Will this be the one? Am I going to make the right choice? Am I going to get it wrong in my future? Did you ever have that kind of issue upon the two decisions which you had to choose between?
So eventually, from the beginning, what happened is that I actually got opportunities to explore other stuff, but I used to reject them because my mind was, I want to focus on engineering. And I didn't want to do anything else. But eventually, I think also when this opportunity came, I was not 100% into it. But eventually, I was like, let me give it a go. And to a point that I didn't even study for this, what I'm doing now. But I am mastering what I'm doing at work. I'm able to even teach people, even guys from other departments that are more senior to me. But because I have mastered the career that I'm in, I'm able to assist and to guide other people into. It's just you need to have that mind open-minded, because if you fix your mind on one thing, then it makes it hard for you to actually find that there's actually something else that you can be better at.
And I think it's good that it's important that you mentioned that, because many people, for example, I think it's in grade 8 where we choose subjects.
Grade 9.
Grade 9 now, we choose subjects and you are focused, I'm going to be an engineer, or I'm going to be this. But later on, some people become so focused on one thing, even when an opportunity is presenting itself, they reject it. That is why today many young people are suffering, because they were focusing on one thing. When it didn't work, they didn't have a plan B or another option because they were just focused on this. They closed their mind to that. Yeah.
And what I wanted to ask is, was it easy to get where you are?
It wasn't. It wasn't, because having to switch your mind on doing something. Also, my parents, they had this mindset. As it happens usually, parents would say, we expect this from our child. And later when you come now, you're doing something else. To them, they're like, what's this? What are they doing? Coding. When you explain to them, they don't understand it. And it was...
It's a foreign language.
Yes, it's a foreign language. But eventually, if you allow yourself, as I allowed myself to adapt to it, because even when, I just remember something, when I got the opportunity, I was even saying to my wife, I was like, nah, it's the financial sector. I'm not interested in this, but I'll give it a go, because my mind at that moment was still focusing on engineering. But eventually, when I started exploring it and giving myself an opportunity to learn, as I keep on learning even more and more in the industry, I find myself that I'm actually enjoying it. I even forgot engineering or the stuff that I learned at school.
What advice would you give to a youth that is divided in this exactly situation? We know that maybe the parents are putting pressure because they had a dream to have the doctor in the family, but the person does not see himself or herself in that particular career. What would you say? Because I know many youngsters out there, they are going through the same. They have to make a decision. They have to write their matric now and then. What are you going to do next? They don't know. They have done these tests about their ability, about the skills, but it's not talking to them. What would you say?
It's you giving that opportunity to yourself, or open-minded. Be open-minded, because that's how we learn at the end. Because sometimes you find people are in certain careers, but they don't really enjoy what they're doing. Because they're doing it because it's either something that's trending or something that their parents were once told that they should be in that field, but they should actually do what they love, because that's when you're able to show your full capacity, or you show your love for that thing. That's when you find opportunities, and sometimes you find within that thing actually that there's more opportunities than what you were looking at. For example, I was looking in the financial sector. I never thought that I would find myself in coding and in the field that I am, because I had a certain mind, but I opened my understanding of my mind, and eventually now I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
And how the YPG helped you when you found yourself in this crossroads?
So the YPG actually, they gave me a guideline, because in the YPG we learn that actually we shouldn't be like in other places where you have to be like, how can I say this? To hide to oppress yourself, or to be like, I can't, to be in a shell, like shy. But in YPG, that's when we expose ourselves, our talent. That's why we're having this event, to showcase our talent, because naturally, I could say I was a shy person. I couldn't even speak to one or two people, but through the YPG, I'm able to express. Even at work, I'm able to express myself, because this is what I learned in YPG. Because somewhere in other places, we just being told that, nah, you can't make it. But in YPG, we're given that opportunity to showcase our talent.
How many talents are we bringing to the event on Monday?
A lot, Donna Marcia. I'm keen to see what everyone else is bringing, but what I can say from the grounds, I think what we're going to see is something very beautiful. I didn't know of what I saw until I heard and saw with my own eyes. One of these days we went with the team even to the streets of Soweto looking for some unique talents, and it was crazy what we have found. Some guys with the crates doing some nice dance. We found a very, very experienced skateboarder who she does very well. She did very well. We found some people who have these voices, as I mentioned earlier.
Harmonious.
It's harmonious. It just fits in together beautifully. There are people who can play instruments which we've never heard of or ever seen. I never knew that could come out of that place. And it's beautiful to see what's coming out.
So we can say that the event is not only for the youth in the church.
Yeah.
It's not for the UCKG.
No.
We're bringing people on board that are not members of the church. Maybe they never heard of YPG, and they're joining us.
100%, Donna Marcia. It's amazing, and also for them, it's like I finally have this platform where I can take what's inside of me and bring it out, and for them to see that it's not just about the YPG or the church, but it's about them exposing themselves and showing what they have inside of them. It's inspiring. And I think also for those who will come from outside and see that, for them it'll be that motivation, like I can do it as well.
Yes.
I can be in such platform and I can make it. So this event is amazing. It's going to be one of a
I
kind.
think this is the high point of the event, to say that you can make it.
Definitely.
What do you have to show to the audience about Rare Talents?
Now, with the Rare Talents, South Africa is a country. It's amazing what we find in this country. There are unique talents. There are things unseen, unheard of. We went to the streets, we went hunting, and this is what we have to show you with the juiciest talents in South Africa. Take a look.
Talent? Yes, we have talent and lots of it. But you'll have to join us at the WATCHA event June 17 to see it all. But here's a mini teaser of what's to come. Enough. Now, let's get back to the show.
Wow, what a beautiful talent, isn't it? Our violinist. And I know that some people, for them it's new, but you see that we have great talents there, isn't it? So now we have something beautiful again. We are going to take off now to Rustenburg. Let us see what Rustenburg has for us.
Please, guys, introduce yourselves to our audience who is watching us today.
Good day, everyone. My name is Fosi from Rustenburg, French.
And hello, everyone. My name is Portia Fosi from Rustenburg.
All right. I want to start with you, Fosi. I want you to tell me a little bit about your background struggles growing up.
My father had left my mother at some point when my mom was pregnant before I was born. So I grew up like that. But at a later stage, my dad came back home. Even though he came back home, I struggled a lot. I never forgave my dad. Actually, in my mind, I was always blaming him. I used to have low self-esteem. I despised myself a lot. Days in my high school days, a group of guys those that were the guys who were drinking. Mm-hmm. So what I would do, I started working with them. We were friends, and I was not smoking yet. I was not drinking yet. Wanting to be cool too, I started doing what they were doing. My smoking and my drinking caused a lot of trouble. We were drinking, and a war broke, and we started fighting, and we beat the other guy. We beat him badly. The following day, the police came home to pick us, me and my friends, including my cousin. My mother spoke to them. My mother spoke to them, and that's how we survived. I was not arrested. Living that life, actually, I did not know any other life apart from that. So I never saw myself coming out of that lifestyle.
And then what led to your turning point?
So what happened? I was in Soweto, and I was living with my cousin. So what happened? My cousin happened to chase me away, and I did not have any place to stay. And I remember I slept in the cabin. And my cousin's neighbor heard that I had nowhere to go, and I slept from place to place from my friends in taverns. He heard that, and he went to look for me, and he brought me in, and he happened to be the member of the church. There they invite this the coordinator of we used to call the youth leader, invited me to the YPG. Yeah, she helped me a lot because I didn't want it to be part of the YPG. So I saw YPG as kids, and I was a kid myself because I was 21 years old. Through attending the YPG, it helps a lot because number one, when I attend a lot, when we go there on Saturdays and they are practicing there, that's the time that I would be with friends and drinking and doing all of those things. My life changed. I no longer drink today. I no longer smoke, and yeah, I'm blessed.
Mine is different from him. I came to church at young age because my family are coming to church. Then I used to come with them, you know. But when I reached high school level, is when things I started to change. I started to have bad friends. I started to date, you know, clubbing, you know, until I finished my high school. Then I went to college. I did not change. I continued with my life like that. But it really, I did that because I wanted to fit in. Sometimes I'll go to the YPG because they were boring for me because I know the life that I was living, it was not it was not me. I even felt like that. And because I was not even studying, because I'll bang the school to go out to drink with friends. You know, I'll come home pretending that I was from school. All my friends, they passed to grade 12. Then I was all alone. I got a point that enough is enough. I can't live like this with pretense. It became too much for me now for me to take it, because when you live in pretense, that means you have to live with a lie. You have to cover your lies. I'm no longer drinking alcohol. I stopped dating. You know, I stopped going out with bad friends.
What is the power of a changed mindset? Because at one point, probably both of you didn't believe, or you both didn't believe that you could turn things around. But then one day you decided that you were going to take that decision.
Once you have made up your mind, once a person has made up their mind, you have this conviction inside of you that you are right.
If you really, really want to change, let's say you really, really want to change and you say, I want to change, there's no one who can come to you and convince you otherwise. There's a power in taking a decision.
100%. That is so true, actually. 100%. The last question before we wrap up. How does being together help you guys reach the goals that you need to achieve or want to achieve?
Our marriage plays a vital role in our dreams, in the dreams that we have achieved and that we are achieving. For an example, I'm the person who particularly I take long to execute on plans, on something that I have planned. However, my wife, Portia, is the person that just go and do something and she makes things happen. I come up with a plan, she comes with execution. This is a teamwork. It has helped us.
We motivate each other, you know, we encourage each other because, you know, whatever that we'll conquer, it's for both of us. So teamwork, you know, motivating each other, it's a it's the key gave.
Thank you.
What I love about this is the message, of course, the excitement we all have. We're counting now the minutes, not only the days, but the stories behind.
Yeah.
And the impact of a work that is done with a group of youngsters in the light of God to achieve a result that maybe you need in your life, that change of 360 degrees,
Yeah.
that only with God and with people who will support you, you will be able to find. We have in the studios today, Lesedi. Good afternoon to you, dear. She is the voice behind Woman to Woman. She is one of our talents, but she's also Uncle's Vini wife and YPG. And Oratili, welcome to the show, Oratili.
Thank you.
Also YPG, you know, no?
Yes.
Oratili, I was talking about these beautiful stories that we hear, and I know you are one of these stories. So share with us your story.
Okay, so my story is, so basically I grew up in the church. My mom was in the church from, before I was born. So I grew up in the church, coming to the Sunday school, and eventually in the PTU and then the youth. However, so as I grew, obviously I learned a lot, I grew a lot, but then I got to a point where I faced challenges so just before I went to varsity, I did my matric and I passed it very well. But then when I got to varsity, somehow there was like that sense of independence, because when you go to varsity, it's always a thing of there's no parents around you, there's no one watching you on your own, and you don't have that parental supervision, sort of. And there's also the excitement of having that independence. So with that, for me, was then started to develop a sense of wanting to do things in my own way and sort of deviating from the teachings that I had learned in the church, and as well as I was growing up with my parents and everything that they were teaching me. So when I went to varsity, my parents, we had a financial situation where they couldn't afford to pay for my varsity, my tertiary education. So what had happened is that I applied for funding, which I received because of my good marks in matric. When I received that funding, I went ahead and started my first year. But again, as I said, when I started, it was me just forgetting everything that I was there for at varsity. So I'd be there, instead of attending my classes, I would not go to class. I would be at race, either with friends or just doing nothing, watching series on my laptop, or doing anything other than studying or even going to school for that matter. Obviously that had an impact on my studies, and my results came back negative. I failed a couple of courses. I know there's one course that I had to repeat like 7 times.
Sure. 7 times?
Wow. Yes, I had to do it like 7 times before I actually passed it. And it's not because I didn't know what to do. It's not because it was difficult for me. It was just because I hadn't committed myself to it. So eventually that happened for like the first year, the second year, and eventually I was financially excluded from the university. This was difficult because now you have to go back to the same parent and say, look, things didn't work out. And you have to explain yourself, because in their mind, you're at varsity, you're doing, your degree, you should be done in 3 years' time, right? But that's not going to happen. I have to now explain why it won't happen, because I wasn't doing what I was meant to be doing at varsity. So that was a difficult situation, because it meant that I had to go back home without the degree, back to that financial situation that isn't good, because I'm the firstborn of 6 other kids. So it is a big family. So you can imagine the financial struggles that we were facing, because only my dad was working at the time. My mom was just a housewife raising us. So
tell me about the roller coaster of emotions. You went to varsity with a purpose. And I can imagine that your parents had high expectations, the firstborn to varsity. And she did so well in matric. You got a financial bursary. She's going to really impress and be an example for the family. Then you come back home. What are the emotions? You particularly.
Sure. So the first thing I felt was the sense of having disappointed my parents, because obviously as the firstborn, like you mentioned, there's high expectations. There's the exemplary figure that you are. So your siblings are looking up to you. So everyone is like, okay, you have to do well because, you know, everyone else is following and they have to do just as whatever you are portraying. So there was the feeling of disappointment, having to say to them, I haven't achieved what I was meant to achieve. There was a feeling of fear to say, what are they going to say? What is everyone going to think? Also the community, because now you're thinking of the society as well. Remember when you went to varsity, there was that proud parent who said to everyone, my child is going to university, she's going to graduate, and she was telling the whole community and the whole family. Now the relatives are going to also question, to say, oh, is she, you know, has she...
What happened?
Yes, what happened? Now, why is she back? You know, now she's also going to have that disappointment to have to explain to them, to say, oh no, this happened. So all of that was going through my mind at the time. And the reality is that you can't really run away from it, because rest is kicking you out. You can't go anywhere. You have to go back home and explain that situation to the parents.
Did you have frustration with yourself? Like you had a purpose in going to varsity, and all of a sudden you come back without a degree. And in a moment, did you think about, why did I waste that opportunity?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because you also think of the time to say, there's also that area where you have people that you came with from matric that went with you to university, and they're now doing their second, their third year, they're about to graduate. You are now frustrated with yourself to say, but I had a purpose. By now, I could be starting maybe my first year at work, or I could be doing something else with my life. But now I have this frustration to say, I have to go back to year number one. That's if I even get the opportunity to go back to varsity.
How did you pick up the pieces of the puzzle and put them together? I say that because if you are here to testify, you might have put that together.
Yes. The first thing was to bring myself back to the point where I was before everything happened. You'll remember I mentioned earlier that I had deviated from the person that I was, my values, the values that I had learned from the YPG, from as well being raised in the church, all of those things. The discipline that I had, all of those things had to come back for me to now piece myself together and actually move forward. So I had to come back to that to say, what have I learned? What is it that I need to go back to for me to put myself in a position where I can say, fine, time was lost. It's okay. Things didn't work out the way that they were meant to initially, but we have faith. We believe that, you know, it's not the end of the world. And again, this is where the YPG featured in very, like, you know, it was actually a building block for my life, because that's where you actually learn how to mend your pieces. That's where you learn that life is worth living, that you don't have to give up, that there's always hope. There's always something that you can look forward to if you really set your mind to it and if you allow God to use you. So then I decided at that time to say, I'm going to look forward and I'm going to allow myself to actually piece everything together. So then the plan had changed. I had to now look for a job. I eventually got a learnership that, so I went through the learnership and then I was taken permanently at my workplace. And then through that, I was able to fund the degree that I was meant to have done at the time. But that worked out well, because now it channeled me even to a different direction, because even the course that I was doing before is not what I'm doing now. But what I'm doing now is in line with what I'm doing at work, which is even better, you know. So things did work out well for me. And yeah, that's how things have changed.
And I think it's good you mentioned when Ms. Massa asked you a question like, how did you pick up the pieces? I think it's good that you mentioned that, you know, you had to go back to the roots. Yeah. Because some people do not know the root of the problem, but you, at the back of your mind, you knew what was the root of this problem. Then you had to go back to the basic, like the teachings and all that. That's when you were able to stand on your own. I think that was very important.
And also, Lesedi, sorry, what is it that we see so much amongst, I would say guys as well, but girls, going to the university, many times staying in rest like she did, you did as well, but getting lost in the process, coming with one purpose, knowing that it will change their lives. But in the middle of that pressure or environment, you guys get lost, so to say, because it happened with you.
It happened to the furthest extreme with me, actually, Ms. Marcia. But just in general, we always have that feeling of they always wanted to do all those things. But it's a matter of, let's say, the families in the church, and there's a routine, and they know the discipline, they know their parents will not tolerate certain behaviors. So they're able to just stay in line for the sake of the parents. And to please the parents, you need to have the good marks, you need to be able to do all these things. But now, as she mentioned, now no one's around, you don't have parental guidance, so you even forget. Now, from personal experience, you forget everything, because now you're finally living your dream that you always wanted to do. No, parents aren't around, they don't know. So when you go home, you put on a smile, everything is normal, everything is fine. Then when you go back to res, you live this other life. So it's a matter of, it's that thing that was always cooped up inside, and then now it's given that opportunity to just explode. And sometimes it explodes in the worst of ways.
Yeah.
And one issue that I had was that my parents forced me to study. I remember I had decided I wanted to do one thing, and they said, no, you can't do that because there's no finances in it. I wanted to go do theology. They're like, no, there's no basis for that. So then I was like, okay, fine, but can I have a gap year? And then they said, no, there's no gap here because you're going to be wasting time. So all this pressure keeps, I'm sure you get that part. Yes. All that pressure keeps building up. I didn't apply. My parents practically applied for me in my first year. And I was frustrated. So when they applied, I allowed eventually. And I went to res, went wild, did whatever. At the end of the year, they say you can't be in this private institution. You have to go to a public. So then I went to a public university, and still with that whole pressure, I don't know what I want to do. I'm being pushed around. I'm being told.
Wait. We need to just understand. You went to the varsity, you wrote your matric, you passed, you went to varsity, not knowing what you wanted to do.
Not knowing at all.
Okay.
You were just pushed.
Oh gosh.
So I was just pushed. I was told you need to figure it out. My parents were the type of parents, it doesn't matter what you study, just study. But I'm like, can I at least have time to figure out what I like, what I don't like? So when they finally moved me to the public university, I was there for like good 2-3 months. And then what happened after that was I went in, deregistered myself, and then I went home and said, I'm done. I'm not studying. And that's when they were like, wait, what? But it was my breaking point. So it is a trend as well that we see with the youth as well. You go do what you don't want to do, feeling the pressure, and at some point you just said, enough is enough.
Yeah.
You two went through that. And today you help youngsters, ladies, in the process.
So,
what do you tell them?
the first thing that we deal with is what they are feeling at the time. Because in most cases, when you get to that point, we find that the youth is, they feel so overwhelmed by the emotion of it that they think that there's actually no way out. There's nothing that can be done. And we often receive young people in that state to say, I don't know what's going to happen to my life. I don't know what, and this is why we have even cases of some young people throwing themselves off buildings at university, suicidal thoughts and that sort of thing. Because in their mind, there's no solution. There's nothing that can be done. So that is the first thing that we need to deal with. We need to sort of lead them to the solution or help them realize that there is a way out, that there is something that can be done for them, that there's a way for them to change the situation that they are in. So that's the first thing. And thereafter, we then have to pretty much hold their hand through it, make sure that they go through it, and until they get to a point where they can say, I'm okay, I understand, and I can actually fight this, it's going to be okay. So with us in the youth, there's a lot of things that we learn, like I learned, and part of that is just being able to express yourself, being able to understand that life isn't always as rigid as you think it is. So you'll find someone who says, maybe I couldn't go to varsity, circumstances didn't allow me. But does that mean that you won't be successful? No, it doesn't.
So this is why we call the YPG family. Because it's more than a project. It is a family who will do the work with you. And you may think that we don't have diversity. Lesedi, introduce us now to one of our projects within the YPG that makes a difference in relation to many other projects that we can find around.
Definitely, Ms. Marcia. So we have our project in the YPG of the sign language. So the YPG fam is inclusive. Everybody, when we say everybody is invited, we mean everyone is invited. So we have an entire project where we teach people how to sign, and they are able to help anybody who comes through. Last event we had a group of youth who had the disability. They couldn't hear, but we had our squad there, and they managed to make them feel just as welcome. They enjoyed just as much as everybody else. So let's go see what the sign language project is all about.
Hi guys, my name is Chantal, and obviously I'm from the YPG. I'm a translator in the YPG, and of course, who doesn't want to see people signing or talking with their hands? So a curious girl like me stumbled on a gem. I saw Shayla signing, Miss Shayla, and I was like, wow, what is she doing? I never knew that it was sign language. I thought, it's something that they do protocol. But once I got to know what it was, a year later, I was joining sign language. Okay, so learning sign language was very hard. So 3 weeks into my learning sign language, I was put on the spot. I started translating. Wasn't there something extra? I knew a few words, hello, greetings, and all that. But here they were throwing me into the flame. But it was actually fun because I got to practice. I got to see how it's done. But hard because it took time for me to remember the words. Remembering is a very hard thing. But once I got the hang of it, it was very easy. It was smooth sailing from there. Signing helped me with better communication with people. As we all know, it has been made the official language. And so it helped me communicate better with people because besides the YPG having the deaf community as our youth and just embracing the deaf community, outside, you also need to speak with people, communicate with people, and it also can give opportunities like being a translator for the news outlets and anywhere you can think. So for those of you who do not know what sign language is, come with me. So here we go. This is our sign language class, and we're about to sign. So guys, this is the first thing I want to teach you that I learned when I started signing. YPG. Youth poetry. So, as you saw what we did, amazing things. So if you want to learn sign language for better communication, job opportunities, anything like that, you can too. It's that easy. Oh, and by the way, as I said, the YPG, that's where I learn sign language. So if you'd like to learn sign language for free, come join us. DM us on our social media pages, YPG RSA. That's where you'll get us.
It's so wonderful to see so many stories. But I see the project of YPG going beyond. Mm-hmm. We see challenges, we see life transformations, we see achievement, but also we see that YPG lead them to have a complete life. And many youngsters today, they don't see families as an achievement.
No, it's money. It's all about money. When you have a job or you have money, you have achieved everything, but family is not included in the equation.
And because YPG is called YPG Fem, we praise family. Yeah. So here is the surprise of today. So we have couples here because Lebohan Oratili married for how long?
For 7 years.
And where did you meet each other?
In the church.
YPG.
Yes.
Guys.
7 years in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks or 1 week?
2 weeks, 6. No, it's, yeah.
2 weeks. That's the fun part of it. They always forget when they got married.
2 weeks.
9 months.
9 months.
Met in woman to woman.
Met in woman to woman. I'm going to claim this talent of matchmaking here in woman to woman. We didn't know.
Nice one.
How do you see the youth today looking at marriage, families, having a family of their own?
Okay, Ms. Marcia, we see that there is an immense misconception when we speak about success. Success in nowadays term is just having money, as Ms. Togo says. If you have money, they say he's successful based on the car he drives, the crib he lives in. And it's not about completion, as we said. Completion, we believe, is being happy in every way. First of all, being happy with yourself, because if you're not happy with yourself, that is incomplete. And one of the proof of what we say is the following. We look, for example, in the lives of most celebrities. Most of them are struggling with addiction. How many of them are depressed, have come out with the fact that they are depressed? How many of them have committed suicide or attempted suicide? But hold on, they're rich, they're famous. The ladies have all the guys at their feet, the guys have all the ladies at their feet. Is that not success? That's the question which we are making to everybody. Is that not success? As a matter of fact, fame, money, success, that shows that you are still incomplete. The YPG works in all the spheres, a completion, be it in family, specifically and especially for those who come from broken families, those who have issues at home, success in their professional lives for those who come from in situations like Oratile mentioned, who she failed, and there are others who mentioned that they failed, but they made a comeback in life. And of course, and most especially, success, looking yourself in the mirror and being proud of who you are every single day and saying, this is who I've become. My art, as a matter of fact, I am an art which God has made.
You too, you have careers, you have achieved your degrees. How do you compare your professional life, your achievements, and the fact that you have one another? We need to give them mics. It's also a surprise. They do. Yeah, it's also a surprise here. We put people in the hot spot.
Go for it.
Okay, so with me having the completeness of, for example, us being together. So part of me, whilst I was doing my degree, I was already married. So I had already family. The support that came through him supporting me in terms of because remember, that's also another challenge that you'd face, because now you're a wife, you're also a student, you have now many hats. And so part of that, in that process, my husband was there being that support pillar for me. You know, he was the one rooting behind me to say, you can do this. You know, when I had to cross night for an exam and, you know, I had to do certain things, write exams on certain days, he'd be there, he'd be very supportive. So I can say that having him by my side throughout that time was something that I'm grateful for, because, you know, he became that structure for me. He became what I needed, you know, when I needed that support. So I think for me, it was something that was an addition in my life. Having him throughout that time was a great blessing, I could say. Yeah.
Yeah, and also for me, also for my career, she was there for me to support me in my career. So I think also just to add on that is that it gave me also the drive, because now I have a family. I have a wife, I have my own family that I need to take care. So I have a responsibility to also change my mindset, because now I'm no longer thinking like a single person, just being selfish, thinking about my only dreams, my achievement, but now it's being a family. That support structure, it actually assisted me in quite a lot of things in my career, in me personally as a person. So her teachings, her guidance, sometimes she'll be like, no, not this way, that way. And through those things, it actually helped me to be where I am today. Because without, as the Bible says, a helper, God will give us a helper. She's being a helper in my marriage, in our marriage, assisting me, being that support structure.
So in other words, you can go without your career.
Yes.
But you cannot go without having each other. They said you didn't believe in marriage.
Not at all. Not at all.
How is it? 9 months?
I love it.
How many fights up to now?
How many? It's just irritations. You know, it's just that thing of, I don't know how you think, you don't know how I think. So we clash for that moment. But when you're with someone who thinks the way you do, you quickly move past it. And I think that's the best part. Knowing that you have someone there with you, your best friend, it makes all the difference. I can't even imagine. My thought process back then was, I want just a life partner. Someone, if I get tired of them, I leave, go to someone else. I can't imagine myself ever being with someone else. So, yes.
And as well, one misconception that the youth have is, no, I don't want to get married because I still want to have fun. Who said we're not having fun?
Exactly.
And the best thing is that you don't have fun.
Another one who didn't believe in marriage anyway.
We don't have fun only when we are with friends, but we go back home and we are not alone. We still have fun at home. And we, as they said, well mentioned, you have that support as well. Because how many of you, now I'm going to make everyone jealous, you go back home after the struggle of work, the struggle of your job, and then you are there and you have to face it alone. And we don't have to face it alone. We have each other and we support each other. We help each other to better ourselves as well.
Yes. So for those who think that being married is boring, you don't know how much fun we actually have. Come and join us and you will see. That's why we have Oratili and Lebohang as coordinators as well, because not only do they have the experience to share to the youth in their respective area in Merafi, but also they have that fun, because they know what is fun. An intelligent fun, because unfortunately there's a misconception, as Tali said, about fun, where they think fun is getting wasted, getting finished, and doing something foolish and regretting it tomorrow, and saying the famous, at least we had fun.
For those who might be watching and saying, I don't believe in it, or I don't think it can happen to me, get the show from the beginning to the end. I don't believe I can have an achievement, a profession. I don't believe I can find value. I don't believe I can find marriage. I have the word of God for you that will tell you otherwise. In the book of Luke, we read, so I say to you, ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be open to you. So you come here and you say, I don't have any of these things they are talking about. I don't have any achievement in life. I don't have purpose. Ask, and it will be given to you as it was given to them. This coming Monday, you are going to hear a little bit more. More than words, it's a personal experience. It will be the opportunity for you to ask, for you to knock, for you to seek, and it will be the day you will receive. For that, we will pray for you, for encouragement. Maybe you are divided. Should I go? No, it's boring, church. I don't want to go. You will be encouraged to go, because be sure, that's the day set for your life to change. Shall we pray?
My Father, we pray for each and every person who is watching or eventually will watch this program. And perhaps they watch this and they think this life they are selling is a far-fetched life. My Lord, we're not selling anything. As a matter of fact, we are sharing with them a true life experience, because we all have been through hell and back, but we made it through your hand. And today we are giving our hand with yours to reach out to those who are hopeless, those who have given up, those who feel like, I don't have an art, I'm worthless, and I can never reach that kind of happiness. Those who are heartbroken, those who have completely given up on themselves and have even contemplated on the idea of suicide. May you reach out to them and transform their lives. I also pray for the parents, grandparents, the relatives who are watching this program and wish that this could happen to their kids. At this moment, this mother doesn't even know where her son, where her daughter is. May you reach out to them and bring that transformation as you did in our lives and in millions of others throughout the world. May this happen. We ask you in Jesus' name, presenting to you this great event, especially those who are convinced they won't make it. They will be there and they will see your greatness in their lives too. We ask you this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Uncle Vinny, one day you were broken and destroyed. That's another chapter of Woman to Woman. What was the invitation done to you?
Donna Marcia, the invitation was simple. Just come and see. And I accepted that one day, and that was enough. I'll never forget it. The day I said yes was the day where my eyes opened. I saw myself in a different perspective, and things
How
changed.
long did it take?
About 18 years of my life.
Can you invite them?
Definitely. Maybe you're in a shell right now, and you don't know how to come out of it. You feel alone, you feel lost, you feel like in your life there is no art, there is no purpose. If we're here today, it's because we overcame that, and so can you. So this coming Monday, you know where to be, the grounds. The one and only grounds, Soweto Zone 6, Zone 6, Deep Kloof Soweto, 24456 Emic Drive. We're going to have the event of the year. We had Feb, but June is going to be something even better. So I want you to be our special guest because it's going to be amazing. It's going to be the juiciest of all events thus far in the YPG.
PJ, those who are not in Gauteng, though we have already discussed the fact that all roads lead to Soweto, but some of them may not come all the way from Cape Town, from Namibia, from Botswana, from Rustenburg. What do they do to join this event?
Okay, if really you can't take that road, river, ocean to Joburg, it's okay. It's okay, we understand your heart will be with us. However, we will have a moment in which we will be connected with all of our main provincial branches throughout South Africa. You're more than welcome to join our fam. We're going to be bringing the same juge, the same spirit, the same message. Everything is going to be one. Although you won't be with us physically in this cold Joburg weather, but you will be with us in one mindset. And you can find out at the end of the program, uckg.org.za. If I'm not mistaken, /locations, you'll be able to find all of our addresses. Look for any main provincial address and you'll be able to join us. The juge will be there too. We'll spread the juge from here to there.
Toko, as for us, from next week we're back to our traditional format.
Back to normal.
Back to normal. We will miss the team, but soon they are going to be back. Something tells me that before the year end, we will have another YPG event.
Oh.
And we meet again. Until then, God bless you all.
Yes.
Until next week, Friday. Bye-bye.
Adolescents are struggling with mental health challenges.
People allegedly shot the principal.
A diploma or degree is no guarantee of a job these days.
17-year-old committed suicide.
The high school learners drank poison. Teen suicide is becoming more common every year.
Counting pupil has died after being stabbed at school. Recorded the highest unemployment rates.
Youth unemployment once again under the spotlight this week.
What you're doing? We are going to prove to you that you don't have to fall into those statistics. You don't have to be just one more. You can rise above and define your own future. What you thinking? Hey, you have exactly what it takes for you to excel. So what you doing on June 17? Want to set your life on a whole new level? And join us at 24456 Imnik Drive, Zone 6, Deep Kloof in Soweto, with simultaneous events at every provincial YPG branch across Mzansi. WATCHA. Entry is absolutely rent-free. Mahala.
Laughter.
And cut. No! There is no cut! Let's go, Nami!
Classical moments.
So I'm not sure if I can answer that or my friends can do.
Humbling.
Totally drift away from my vision, from my purpose, and God was so merciful because He saw my sincerity, though I was drifting away, but He saw my sincerity.
Impactful.
To give of yourself to your child, to listen when they speak, to listen when they are talking to you, not to shut them down, not to shout at them, not to call them names, but your presence will remain with them forever and they will appreciate the teachings that you give to them.
Eye-opening.
But values and principles do not change at all, they stay the same. And once I know that, and once I tell myself that, and I love myself because I'm not going to compromise my salvation for somebody else, then once I love myself in that way, it will be easier for me to love others.
Do you find yourself experiencing those moments while watching the woman-to-woman programs? Well, this is our gift for you. We are announcing our woman-to-woman playlist on Facebook and YouTube. Watching Made Easy, where you can go back to the shows again and relive those moments. Enjoy.